Pardon me. Do you have tabs?
Yes.
Yes, here we are. I don't use Safari. I use Google Chrome.
Coming to you from Charlottesville, Virginia, WillowTalk. With your hosts, Andrew Carter and Ben Fry.
Hey Andrew, who do we have here today?
Hey Ben, well we have Rich from the Android team. Rich, man, how you doing?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm doing great. Nice spring day. It's been almost a year since our last video, so we're finally back at it again.
While. So what are you showing us today, Rich?
Well, today I have a thing with. I'm going to do a conference soon and speak about Android things and Firebase on a Raspberry Pi with a robot arm. I made a cardboard robot arm.
Nice.
So hydraulic.
A lot of integrated stuff going on there.
A lot of stuff.
A lot of pieces. So you can put Android in a robot now?
Kind of, yeah.
Put the robot in a robot?
Yeah. So like you could put it on a Raspberry. You literally put Android on a Raspberry Pi, and the fact that the Raspberry Pi has these GPIO pins, which mean general purpose input output pins, means you can send signals to those and essentially make things do things, right?
Did Android have to add is there first party Android SDK the ability to talk to those pins, or is that something Raspberry Pi made? How did that work?
No. Google totally made that, and they're constantly iterating on it. So I think day before yesterday, and today's Thursday, so I think it was Monday. I don't know what today is. You can cut that out. Recently, recently Google just released the dev preview 0.4, and then 2 weeks before that they released 0.3. So I mean they're really quickly iterating.
It's happening fast.
Yeah, and they expect it to be stable at 1.0 sometime soon this year. They just announced that at Google I/O in their talk, their keynotes talk, that it's going to be sometime later this year.
Okay. Have they had different brands or manufacturers announce that they have upcoming products at this, or is it more
Yes.
is it more geared towards it will be used for real world Internet of Things products?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, they just released a this kit where you can have a microphone and a speaker and essentially just make a poor man's Google Home.
Okay.
And you can tie it in with your Google Assistant and everything. Cool. Yeah.
Would you say this is part of the Google Home ecosystem almost?
You could make it, yes.
Okay.
So here are.
So these are the already supported.
Oh, they added one. Look at that. There's 6 now. There was 5. But yeah, the Intel Edison, Intel Jewel. These are really expensive.
They're pretty, and some of these things are cheap, right? How much? What's the price?
The Raspberry Pi, which is why I chose it, is because it's $30. Last time I checked, the Intel Edison is I think around $100 or something like that.
They're pretty beefy. It's a gig of RAM, 3 or 4 gigs of RAM, so you can actually do some real work on these.
Yes, sir.
Good work. Yeah, that's cool.
So here you've got your base hardware.
Yes.
And then on top of that, what's the next thing that you need to go to?
So you have your base hardware, and you basically you get Android things, right? The SDK.
Yeah.
You go here. Upside down again. You can go to here to get started. Whatever. You can go to this flash the image. Okay, and it'll tell you what you need.
So you're basically that's you installing Android
on there.
Yes, and what you have to. I found what I used. I use a thing called Etcher. Okay, it's open source. Hold on, let's look up this open source, and it basically writes images onto your SD card.
Okay.
It's here.
Oh, right, because Raspberry Pi boots off SD cards.
Right.
Are there any hardware concerns that you have to think about when you're programming that you wouldn't normally have to on an Android phone or tablet?
There are. They do list out some things that aren't supported, but mostly they're things with software like Firebase and stuff. Because things like Raspberry Pi and all that, they have Wi-Fi, they have Bluetooth.
Right.
So you can put USB into it.
So it's full Android. It's not like a light version for embedded.
It's full on, and it's not. It doesn't have some things, right? They talk about in here the Google APIs.
That makes sense. So you wouldn't be able to get push notifications from Google or that kind of stuff. Because I guess apps are not, because they're not distributed to the Play Store, right? So Google's not assigning the apps.
Correct. Okay. And so things like and this only makes sense, right? Like things like Android Pay.
Right.
You can't have Android Pay because it can't guarantee your device, right? It can't
that makes sense.
Right.
But you do get a lot of things. I mean, you get all this location stuff. You can get Fit. You can get all these Firebase things. Google Drive, Google Cast. I mean, if you, like you said, you want the YouTube thing, right there, boom, you can Chromecast it, boom, or you're not Chromecast.
So you can make like a little mobile arcade. You can just take your friend's house and cast to their
Yes.
Is integrating third-party libraries any different?
Nope.
Or
what I found thus far is it's the same exact thing because we use Gradle, a thing called Gradle, to do our build systems or do our build tools, and it's. I imagine that as long as it doesn't rely on any of these things over here.
Good. So as far as building to it goes, you just plug into your computer like normal, like see it as an Android device, and you just build to it?
That's one of the catches too. So in the pin system, you can actually take a USB cord and say you were to cut the other end off, like USB, right? And then there are special pins that you can go to on the GPIO board. Or what I usually do, because this tends to be the simplest thing, is. But you have to have an Ethernet connection, a hard Ethernet connection, and Wi-Fi. What you can do is you can plug into your Ethernet connection, right? And then it will connect to your network, get a Wi-Fi address, okay? And then that screen I was telling you about, it'll actually say on there what the IP address is.
Okay.
And then in your terminal, you can use ADB to connect to that IP address, and then Android Studio will connect through Wi-Fi.
So if it was like mounted to the wall or something, you wouldn't have to have a cable connected to it. You could just
once it connects, you can take it out, which is what we'll have here in a minute. When I bring when I have the robot arm and everything, it's already like running right now on our network.
A few minutes from now.
But it literally is running on our network. This robot arm that I'm about to show came about because I was watching YouTube with my kids and. We saw this dude who made this cardboard robot arm out of like these syringes and some, aquatic tubing. And my girls were like, oh, that's really cool. And I thought, you know what, that is really cool. And my background, by the way, happens to be in like construction, right? Okay. So like before I started doing development, for like 12 years I did heavy industrial construction. And so I love building stuff.
So you reverse engineered the robot arm from a YouTube
Well, I just looked at the picture, and I was just like, okay. I like paused the video, and like when he had it, and I was like, all right, cool. And so basically, I made it from that.
That's awesome.
And so I had that, but in between that, I got to thinking about this Android things. A partner of mine, a guy working here, a buddy of mine, we were working on the same project named Nish, excellent fellow. So. He first had Android things, and then we talked about it and all that. And in the middle of me making this thing, I thought, I wonder if I could make an Android app, put that stuff on the Raspberry Pi, and control this robot arm. Even though right now I'm making a manual thing.
Right.
So what I did was I built this thing. They're hydraulics. We're not going to be able to use this one at this moment because I'll show that in just a second. So, but basically what we have is we can rotate, right? We can articulate, and we can open and close the claw. So because I don't have wheels on it, we kind of have to. I could we could do this, rotate around, come in and be like, oh, look at this, right? Oh,
yeah.
Let me do that, and then hold that one. So, but here you can do it. I mean, just make sure you hold the syringe there. Yeah. Oh, look, there.
Go to get dent so you can grab it.
Yeah, and then you could just like, close enough, right?
So that's where you started.
This is where I started. Yeah. That's what I had, and then I got this great idea of like, I will put pumps on it.
Yeah.
Right? And then we will control this with Android things, right? And thus, this was born. So I have the Raspberry Pi. I bought some relays. In case there's my relays. This particular, I actually have 3 of these. They're 4-channel relays. Each relay basically controls a pole. Okay, this is DC. So this will be like positive. This will be negative, and that allows me to be able to reverse the polarity. So it can reverse the polarity on our pump, our water pump, right? And these are little miniature water pumps. Raspberry Pi, though, I got a battery pack for ease of use right now. I just have everything running through a breadboard. And the initial app that I made had lights, right?
Yeah.
So
you've still got
if we took the relay thing,
here.
right?
So it's still is a lights app.
Right. It's still technically right now. I have repurposed my light app to do this thing. So, but it's still even right now. This is all connected via Firebase, right? So I hit,
so you're updating a database.
Right. So, and it's like a WebSocket.
Okay.
Right. And so if I touch something here, it'll turn it on there because it's going right into the Raspberry Pi. And I don't know if you can actually see.
I think we can see that.
The light. Yeah. So you can see the lights on and off. Yeah. There you go. Right. So woo, yay. Right. So you can see, we have our lights on and off. I can even turn this one here so make a little more sense. So see, we turn our lights on and off like this. And the real quick and short of it, how it worked is like you have the mobile app, you have Android things. They both connect to Firebase and use the database thing. And it's like a WebSocket, so you basically have a direct pipeline. So you get instantaneous.
So the app talks to Firebase, talks to the Raspberry
mobile,
Pi.
and everything syncs up. So, but yeah, then you just boom and you turn it on up, not wrong way. So and then we go up. And you don't want to go too far. I have switches that I'm gonna cut off.
Keep you from pulling the syringe out.
Yeah, and then you can go down, and as you can see, like here as well.
Oh yeah, you see this move that thing around.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
And then so it's now automated through Raspberry Pi using Android things.
And so then your plan is to
all written in
add
Kotlin
to each of these.
Correct. Yeah. So right now I only
pump to
have
each.
4. Again, like I said before, I'll have one that scopes in and out.
Right.
So that'll be a 5th one. And then I'll have basically I'm building a box right now.
So that
that
it's
will
not
house-
precariously sitting on the table.
So we have a much better thing about this right here. So where all these pumps will be mounted and all of this, it'll be nice.
That's awesome.
As we all know, when you build stuff, the initial thing is just really ugly. It's like your code, right? You build this prototype and it's just gnarly code, and then you go back and clean everything up and make it pretty if people actually have to look at it. Otherwise, just like, screw it and throw it in the archives. And
This thing's pretty cool, dude.
Okay, so I have an open source project that I'm working on that deals with the light bulb thing, and it's on our GitHub. So github.com/WillowTreeApps. Oops. treeapps.com. No, not .com.
.com.
/ I think it's Android. You might have to edit this. Sorry.
That's fine.
Android things / IoT light bulbs. If I'm not mistaken, I can't type it now. Sorry.
And that name just really rolls off the tongue.
Yes, there it is. Yay! So here it is.
So if you have your own cardboard robot arm at home, you could also.
Well, no. If you have
This is
lights,
for the lights,
if you
right?
have the LED lights,
okay.
I will also have robot arm open source project too.
And you're writing a blog post where you're
Yes,
going
and
into
I should have a
lot of
blog
detail
post.
on this
Yeah,
stuff, right?
I'll have that done.
We'll put a
soon.
link to that in the description of this.
Awesome.
This is awesome, man.
Oh yeah, this looks really cool.
I'm looking forward to seeing your next version 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you know what? If you
scoping
would
on.
have me, when I get the next version actually working and it's all nice and it's not leaking everywhere, and all this.
Yeah,
So
we'll-
waiting for a short.
We'll get you back going
An
to the
update
final
on
product.
it,
Yeah.
We can do a real quick recap of oh, look at this awesome thing and this is what I built. So
Yeah, totally.